Hi, this is Scott with Summit Environmental Solutions, and today we're going to show you why and when you need to do a termite treatment. Just destroys the wood. Absolutely destroys it. Okay, so we're in a crawl space here in Virginia, and we are actually called out to solve a water problem in this crawl space. And when we were in the crawl space, I noticed that there were other problems besides the water, and problems that are just as significant as too much water in your crawl space, and that's eastern subterranean termites. So in Virginia, we have one species of termites that are indigenous, and that is the eastern subterranean termite. The colony lives in the soil, and they travel from the soil to the food source, which unfortunately is your house and the wooden members of your house. So as they travel from the soil to the wood, they eat the wood, they eat the cellulose. They're able to digest it through gut bacteria, protozoa that are in the gut of the insect. They're able to digest the cellulose, get the nutrients from it, and then share it with the rest of the colony, because termites are a colonial insect. So you have a queen, and you've got thousands and thousands of workers that travel from the main colony to the food source, bringing the food back and causing the colony to expand and get healthy and get larger. So unfortunately, they happen to be getting healthy and larger off of the wood in this house. So we're in the crawl space right now, and you can see it's a dirt floor crawl space. There's nothing stopping the termites in the soil from moving up the wall, and the termites can actually be in the soil on the outside of the wall as well. And if you notice, you've got little gaps and cracks in these cinder block walls, and they're hollow inside. So the termites can actually go in and then travel up this block and then get to the wood above. And as you can see right here, you've got a termite shelter tube or mud tube, which they travel from the soil to the food source, and they protect themselves. They're cryptic insects. They don't like to be exposed. They desiccate rapidly, which means they lose water. They can dry out and die very quickly. So they make these shelter tubes, which holds moisture in, and they're able to travel without harm to the food source, which is the wood. And as you can see, this is a mud tube. So they've gotten from the soil to the wood and are actually starting to do damage to it. So you can see the shelter tube along here. And if you look over here, you can actually see a shelter tube. This is a great example where they're coming up from the soil, and it looks like they actually came out of the block here, or went into the block from the original mud tube. And then they travel up and get into the wood. And you can see here another great example of the termites getting into the wood. And we probe the wood to see if it's damaged, and it's not significantly damaged here. So we're in here on time, and we're going to execute a treatment called a barrier treatment, which is soil termiticide. Termiticide is an insecticide that kills termites specifically. Gets injected into the soil, binds organically with the soil, and as the termites travel through it, they'll pick up the molecules of the pesticide. It'll kill them slowly. They'll bring it back to the colony, and you'll get what's called a transfer effect. And we use a material called termidor, which is, in my opinion, the best material on the market. It's got at least 12 years of efficacy out in the field, which means it's not had a failure in USDA testing for at least 12 years. So it's a great product, no odor, and non-repellent. So the insects can't even detect it, and they move easily through it, pick up the material and take it back to the colony and cause the colony to crash. And that's the ultimate objective, is to stop the termites from doing damage. So this is some areas where we've got some termite activity, and we got the crew starting to work on the outside, so we'll show you how that work is being done right now. Thank you. All right, so this is the product that we use, which is termidor, and it's always important that you read the label. The label is always attached to the product, and the label is the law, so you have to follow what the label says. So always read your label, and in this case, it's simply attached to it, and you can read the dilution ratios, how much to make a certain percentage of active ingredient in your finished solution, what the rate of application is, which is how much do you apply per certain linear foot, per foot of depth to footer. All that information, safety, if you get product on you accidentally, how you take care of that. Everything you need to know is on this label to safely use this product. So make sure that you always read the label when you're applying any pesticide, but especially as you're doing termite treatments. Okay, so we finished our preparation for the treatment, and now we're going to get ready to start doing the treatment. And we're going to start with the outside, and then we're going to treat the inside. So right here we have one of our smaller termite rigs. This is a 50-gallon rig. It's gasoline powered, just takes regular gasoline, not 2-cycle, but just regular old gasoline, 5 horsepower, and you can pump at about 100 PSI, which will help you get the treatment done a little bit faster. We got a 200-foot hose, so that as long as you get close enough to the house, you can treat pretty much the whole areas you want to from one spot without having to move anything. And like I said, we got 50 gallons in there. We'll probably use a little bit more than 50 gallons on this job, so we'll have to refill. But on a smaller job, this is definitely the tank we want to use. So we're going to go through the procedure of starting up the rig. Okay, so right here we got our on and our off. This is how you get ready to turn the engine on. So you click it to the on position, and when it's running and you want to turn it off, you just hit that button to the off position, that'll shut it right off. So to the on position, then over here is the fuel. This is your shut off. This is open. This is your choke. So when you're ready to start, you put the choke all the way over this way. And this is the throttle, slow, fast. So we just keep it a little bit right there. Go ahead and prime it a little bit. Now, that's just the startup procedure. You let it warm up. When the choke is in the full position, as soon as it starts up, then you start to move the choke to the off position. Let it warm up a little bit, and then you're ready to start treating. Now, on the end of your hose, you're going to go ahead and install your treatment tools. This is the B&G Versatool with the male connection that goes into the quick connect with your 4-foot rod. This is what you use for the lion's share of the work. When you connect the hose to the treatment tool, you don't want the engine running and putting pressure against this, because it's really hard to then get it to go actually into the tool itself. So we want the engine off while we're getting the tool set up. So if you notice, there's a little notch right here so that it can't accidentally be engaged. So you line up that little button with that notch, and then that way you're able to move the quick connect in and out. Move the quick connect in. Then your tool's now set. Now you can go ahead and fire up the rig, get the pressure set, and get ready to start treating.